This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning to you. I'm Bill Bryant, and spring has sprung in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. It is Monday, March 21st, and now at 6 a.m., some new details in about a fatal fire in Louisville that killed 4 people, including a young woman with ties to central Kentucky. Remembering a young student who was killed in a tragic accident at Lexington's Raven Run over the weekend. And how your input could help Fayette County schools decide if they should spend $500,000 to fix a dangerous problem.
We have the 20s and 30s outside early this morning. It's a cold start to the day. 28 now coming in Somerset, 29 in the London Corbin area. By the afternoon, it's still cool at 50, but it is getting better. I'll show you 60s in the forecast, maybe a couple of 70s, and also some rain coming up.
Okay, we'll see you in just a little bit with that spring pattern, and let's get right to the news. We are learning some new details this morning about an arson that killed 4 people in Louisville. One of the victims grew up in central Kentucky. WKYT's Mark Barber is at our live desk with these new details that we have coming in. Mark, good morning.
Good morning, Bill. We've learned from several viewers this morning that the woman who was found dead in the fire grew up in Nicholasville. 3 other bodies were also found in the house. Apparently, they were her husband and their 2 children. Investigators say the fire that destroyed the home in southeast Louisville was set on purpose. Dozens of firefighters started knocking down the flames and the smoke at the home on Saratoga Springs Place around 2:30 yesterday afternoon. There were multiple fires on multiple floors in the home. Investigators don't know why the fire was started intentionally or who started it. Police are trying to figure out whether the 4 people who were found dead were killed by the flames or whether they were killed before the fire was started. While the investigation continues, neighbors are asking why. Why this family? Why here?
People keep an eye out for one another in this neighborhood, and most everyone knows each other, especially closer, that you live. So, yeah, everyone's real concerned.
Police are canvassing the neighborhood, looking for witnesses, trying to find answers for those concerned neighbors. So far, the coroner has not released the names of the 4 people who were found dead. From the live desk, Mark Barber, WKYT.
Well, it certainly is a tragedy, and we'll stay on top of the story. And friends and family of a young woman who fell to her death at Raven Run are trying to keep her memory alive. 22-year-old Katie Stewart was a student at Transylvania University, and she also worked at Crank and Boom, a local ice cream shop here in Lexington. That store's owner says Stewart was full of ideas and had all sorts of potential. So she held a fundraiser where donations were welcome in exchange for Stewart's favorite flavors. All of the proceeds will be going to her family.
I know we can't bring her back, but if we can honor her and celebrate her and help her family out, I think that's the best we can do.
Officials say Stewart was hiking at Raven Run Nature Sanctuary when she fell off of a cliff on Saturday. Using ropes and a boat, the fire department eventually recovered her body. But while returning to shore, their boat capsized. 6 firefighters, all wearing life jackets, were able to swim to shore. A dive team was then called in to recover Stewart's body again. The fire department is now trying to find some of its equipment that it lost in the river. And search teams are hoping to get back in the Ohio River this week to look for that car that plunged into the water after a pileup on a northern Kentucky bridge. Search efforts were suspended last week because of safety concerns related to a rising and wild river. The car crashed last week and went off I-275's bridge between Campbell County and Cincinnati. Police say they have been contacted by the family of a missing person thought to have been driving the car when it toppled over the side of the bridge. By the way, that same bridge was the scene of a deadly crash last night. The state says the crash was in the eastbound lanes of I-275 on the Combs Hill Bridge there in northern Kentucky. A big issue with a huge price tag. The Fayette County School Board must decide whether to spend more than $500,000 to fix high levels of radon that has been discovered in Lexington schools, 9 of them in all. WKYT's Mike Byer is live now to explain what is going to be happening today. Mike, good morning.
With the radon problem affecting a handful of Fayette County schools, the school board will hold a meeting tonight at 6:30 to vote on allocating money to fix the problem. Now, this problem was discovered back in February, and it was discovered that it has affected 6 public schools here in Fayette County. They include Bryan Station High School, Booker T. Washington Intermediate Academy, Harrison Elementary, Leestown Middle School, Lexington Traditional Magnet Schools, Mary Todd Elementary, Russell Cave Elementary, Scapa, and Sandersville Elementary. Now, radon is an invisible, odorless radioactive gas that comes from the natural decay of uranium that is found in soils. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency lists it as the second leading cause of lung cancer. Now, schools in Kentucky are not mandated to test radon levels, but after finding a higher radon level a year and a half ago at Locust Trace, Fayette County Public Schools decided to test the radon levels at every school and also set their standard the same as the EPA's residential exposure level, which is a 4. All 9 schools have tested at a 4 or higher. Now, the school board needs to sign off on $570,000 to fix the radon levels. Once again, they'll vote on this issue tonight right here at the Fayette County Public Schools headquarters. The meeting is open to the public, and it's expected that many concerned parents and community members will be on hand. Live in Lexington, Mike Byer, WKYT.
All right, thank you very much. Well, it's spring, and that means all those pesky potholes can finally start to be filled. From 9 until 3 today in Fayette County, crews will be doing patchwork on I-75. There'll be some rolling lane closures in both directions between the 115 exit, that's Newtown Pike, and the Fayette-Scott County line.
Now, your zone-by-zone forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
Look at start to the day and that moon outside. Boy, is it bright. I mean, it looks like daylight as you're waking up early this morning, especially if you don't have any clouds overhead. Clear start to the day for most. And where you are seeing clear conditions, that's where you see the coldest temperatures. Somerset, London, go off into Monticello, Science Hill, Renfro Valley, Livingston, Mount Vernon. I mean, those areas where the coldest spot is. We're holding on to the upper 20s, even some back toward Taylor County and Campbellsville, and also sitting there in Adair County and Columbia, Russell Springs, those areas. Jamestown is where you're seeing temperatures in the 20s. That's the coldest spot in the viewing area, but there are bits and pieces here and there of some 20s too. So when you're waking up this morning, upper 20s, lower 30s, it's going to be a really cold start to the day. By the afternoon, right around 50 degrees. That's just above where we were this weekend, about 5 to 8 degrees. So it is getting better, right? Then we're having that sunshine, so that's going to help us out. Off into the evening and night, no problems. Tomorrow morning, just above freezing. Let's give you the breakdown of what we can expect the next few days. Our headlines, the first full week of spring is this week, and that warming trend will take over. You'll see tomorrow off toward Wednesday your best chance of staying dry. Then Thursday looks like your best chance of picking up on some rain. Michael Baker sent this one in. Really good shot there, and that's the sunset. Cool shot there. Micah Harris, WX. If you have your phone beside you, hop on Twitter and check out Micah Harris, WX. And that's my Twitter handle. You can follow me, send me pictures send pictures to me, and I'll show them off for you. Johnny Nicholson sent this one in. And that's down in London, down in Laurel County. Awesome shot there. So you just got to love it. As we continue to track off into the next few days, we'll have more sunrises, sunsets just like these. So get ready, grab the pictures, hop on Twitter. Follow me, and you can also follow KY Newsmakers right there,
That's
right beside me,
we
Bill
do
Bryant.
some politics and other things on
Yeah,
there. It's a lot of
we're always
fun.
tweeting out people's
and we
pictures and
retweet
whatnot.
each other a lot
There you
too,
go.
because
There
you
you
do
go.
have some awesome pictures that people
Really cool
send
pictures
in.
sent in.
All right, time this morning is 6:08 on WKYT, and each morning we love to bring you the weather and traffic together right here. Let's go out to Officer Don with a look at what is happening early on the roads. Good morning, Don.
Good morning. Well, we've been talking about the pothole repairs today that will happen on the interstate a little bit later, not affecting us during rush hour so much, but be aware on I-75 north and southbound here in Fayette County could be a factor for you throughout the day. Let's get a look outside right now, and we'll show you what's happening as far as live drive traffic is concerned, and as we can see traffic flow moving okay. No major issues coming in from Clark County on 64. Also looking good inbound Nicholasville Road, which takes us to our drive times this morning, and it's a straight shot across the Fayette-Jessamine County line with no problems coming in from Brandon Crossing toward Fayette Mall. Inbound Harrodsburg Road still looks good, and on the north side, no problems right now coming in from Paris. Now back to you in the studio.
Okay, good right in, and all those students back from spring break at UK and EKU now. 6:09 the time on WKYT this morning. How crews rescued a boy who fell into a 30-foot hole outside of a Maryland McDonald's. That's ahead.
Historic visit. President Obama's first full day in Cuba will be a busy one. I'm Don Champion at the CBS Broadcast Center with a preview and why Cubans and Americans are watching closely coming up.
Good morning. Welcome back into WKYT this morning. Glad you're with us as you rise and shine on your Monday and as our first week of spring is underway. Well, this morning, President Obama is waking up in Cuba. He is the first U.S. president to visit the island nation in nearly 90 years. Calvin Coolidge was the last. The trip is being called a big step toward normalizing relations with the Cold War adversary. As Don Champion reports, Mr. Obama has a big meeting today.
After his historic landing Sunday, a busy day awaits President Obama in Cuba. This morning, he's scheduled to meet with Cuban President Raul Castro. He's also set to take part in a summit with U.S. and Cuban entrepreneurs. Shortly after arriving yesterday, President Obama and the First Lady greeted staff at the new U.S. Embassy in Havana.
More opportunities for the Cuban people to improve their lives. It's all happening because of you. Every single day, you're bringing the Cuban people and the American people closer together.
The president and the First Family then toured Old Havana by foot. The trip to Cuba is being called a big step toward normalizing relations between our countries. Coverage of the president's arrival on TV captivated some Cubans. Cubans here in America are also watching closely.
I don't mind Obama going to Cuba. I think it's wrong for us to open relationships with Cuba unless Cuba agrees to also come to the table with things like freedom.
To prove that is a priority, the White House says President Obama will meet with several Cuban dissidents, which was a prerequisite for the visit. Don Champion, CBS News.
And since the Obama administration normalized relations with Cuba in 2014, the U.S. has approved more than $4 billion of business between the two countries. Nearly 3 dozen members of Congress are also taking part in the president's trip to Cuba. Republican presidential frontrunner Donald Trump meets with party leaders in Washington today before delivering remarks at a pro-Israel conference. The events come ahead of a crucial nominating contest in Idaho, as well as Utah and Arizona. Those all coming up tomorrow. Trump leads rivals Ted Cruz and John Kasich in the winner-take-all state of Arizona. At a rally last night in Florida, Trump said he will release a list of judges that he would nominate to the Supreme Court if he's elected. Trump says he wants to stave off concerns that he might pick judges who are too liberal. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell is fighting this president's decision to name a Supreme Court nominee. He continues to make the case that Obama's nominee should not be confirmed.
But this is not about this particular judge. This is about who should make the appointment. We're in the process of picking a president, and that new president ought to make this appointment, which will affect the Supreme Court maybe for the next quarter of a century.
The president tapped moderate federal appeals court judge Merrick Garland to fill the vacancy created by the death of Justice Antonin Scalia. Police do not know why a retired Pennsylvania state trooper killed a turnpike toll collector and a guard in a holdup attempt at a toll plaza in Dublin's township. Police say Clarence Briggs was shot dead by other troopers while he was trying to escape with the money. Briggs retired in January of 2012 with an honorable discharge. He had served as a state trooper for 26 years. 2 11-year-old Maryland boys are recovering after falling into a hole about 30 feet deep in a McDonald's parking lot. A local TV station says the boys were playing in some mulch outside the Rosedale restaurant. They told their parents the ground was bouncy, so they started jumping. That's when the ground gave in and completely swallowed the boys. One of them was able to get out, but authorities had to lower a rescuer down to grab the other.
I go to look down in it, and I hear somebody screaming up to me, help. So then I realized there was somebody down in there, jumped on the phone, called 911, told them to get as many people out here as possible to save this kid.
Putting mulch over a hole is not covering the hole. My brother could have died. Like, you don't understand, my brother could have lost his life.
The hole is now marked off by caution tape, and authorities have put a very heavy steel plate up over the hole now to make sure that no one else gets hurt. Well, hacking high-tech cars and business is booming in Cuba. Hannah Daniels has those stories and more in today's Money Watch report.
Well, We'll see if markets can continue to rally today. On Friday, the Dow gained 120 points. The Nasdaq closed 20 points higher. The FBI and federal safety regulators are warning that high-tech connected cars are increasingly vulnerable to hacking. The FBI issued a public service announcement citing demonstrations where researchers took control of car functions, like braking and steering by remote control. The FBI says drivers should keep vehicle software up to date. As President Obama continues his historic visit to Cuba today, Starwood Hotels and Resorts announced it will be the first American company to operate a hotel on the island. Starwood owners of the Westin, Sheraton, and W brands plan to open 3 hotels by the end of 2016. Airbnb is also making moves in Cuba. The online lodging company can now open its listings in Cuba to travelers from around the world. Cuba has become Airbnb's fastest growing market. No big announcements expected at Apple's first event of 2016 later today. The headliner will be a new 4-inch iPhone. The smaller phone comes after some users complained bigger is not always better. And that's your CBS Money Watch report. For more, head to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the New York Stock Exchange, I'm Hannah Daniels.
Sounds like now you have your option on the phone size. Time this morning is 6:19. Rise and shine on your Monday. It's your first week of spring here in the Commonwealth. And WKYT this morning is just getting started. If you're a single mom, we'll have a look at the cities considered best for raising a family.
20s and 30s early this morning, and then we hit the afternoon right around 50 degrees. It's better than this weekend, right? Then 60s after that. Could we be seeing 70s? I'll show you that in your forecast coming up.
Good morning. Welcome back into WKYT this morning. Glad you're with us today. It's 6:23 right now. 2 adults and 2 children are dead after a case of arson in Louisville. And that's what's trending at this hour. WKYT News has learned that at least one of the victims grew up in Nicholasville. Investigators say there were multiple fires on multiple floors. They have not said how the 4 victims died. A Transylvania student was killed in a weekend hiking trip at Raven Run. Investigators say 22-year-old Katie Stewart fell off of a cliff. After firefighters recovered her body, their boat capsized on the Kentucky River, and a dive team had to recover Stewart's body. All right, as we said, first week of spring, and here's meteorologist Micah Harris.
And it's a good one. All in all, I think the next 7 days is actually a pretty good start to your spring forecast. We're looking at Defender Radar Network. There's nothing going on, and I wanted to span out. So obviously there's the front off toward the eastern seaboard, and what we're seeing for us, just a few clouds here and there. I want you to look back toward the west. Do you see anything going on? Nada. So this is going to be the next few days with pretty calm conditions. There's absolutely nothing happening. It's pretty quiet. 32 degrees there in Lexington. We're at 28 now in Somerset, Science Hill, Fawbush. Work your way into Dunville, and also sitting there in Waynesburg, holding on there in southern Lincoln County in the 20s. London, Corbin area at 28, and Lexington, Richmond, all the bluegrass regions sitting there at 32 or below. We go through your day, we'll be right around 50 degrees later on this afternoon. And if you remember from yesterday and the day before, those 2 days were in the mid-40s. Today, Bill, we're right around 50 degrees. We're getting better, and then we'll see the 60s the next few days.
Okay, you know, that's easy to enjoy, certainly, and it's always warm in the sunshine. The time this morning is 6:24. A new survey from Wallet Hub finds that Scottsdale, Arizona is the best city in the country for single mothers to raise a family. The analysis considered several factors in its ranking, including cost of living and job opportunities for single moms. Madison, Wisconsin came in second. Lexington and Louisville both made the top 100, taking 61st and 79th spots respectively. Well, you came to the wrong place, big fella. This 10-foot alligator popped up outside of a school in Lakeland, Florida. Staff and students say they were amazed to see such a big gator roaming around there. Police kept the animal in one spot until a professional trapper finally caught the alligator. Officers think the reptile was headed for a lake across the street. Just making his way through the school grounds there. All right, it's an excuse note signed by the boss himself. A fourth grader and his dad went to the sold-out Bruce Springsteen show in Los Angeles. The young rocker held up a homemade sign that saying, "Bruce, I will be late to school tomorrow. Please sign my note." Well, after the show, sure enough, Springsteen invited the pair backstage where they posed for photos, and Bruce scribbled a note for the boy's teacher. The note said, "Dear Miss Jackson, Shabi has been out very late, rocking and rolling. Please excuse him if he is tardy." And so the word is that not only was he excused, but the teacher actually gave him the note back. So he gets to have that for keepsake as well. Great story there. 6:26 in the morning on WKYT. Glad to have you along with us on your Monday. We're off and rolling. It could change how the families of firefighters are compensated after they're gone. We'll have details on the bill that firefighters are fighting for today in Frankfurt, coming up at 6:30, along with all of our top stories. And tomorrow night's Mega Millions jackpot is $30 million, and Wednesday night's Power jackpot is $90 million. So good to have you with us on WKYT.